We will have Joshua in our country in February. Then there is the big fight, one of the great fights
in the world. Like, you can't sit around and wait for Fury. The Usyk fight is not materializing, and I don't think any fans want to see that. So, in a way, this could be Joshua's final fight or final meaningful fight. It's going to happen in 5 weeks.
There's a huge opportunity for enormous amounts of money to be generated around a fight that really has no integrity behind it in terms of as a fight, but in terms as a media spectacle and entertainment opportunity.
Turki Alalshikh has openly questioned Anthony Joshua's decision to entertain a potential fight with Jake Paul, calling the move surprising and hard to justify. He confirmed that plans are already underway for one of the biggest events scheduled next February featuring Joshua, though he refused to reveal the opponent. While Tyson Fury remains the name most fans expect, Alalshikh kept a tale secret, keeping the boxing world guessing. He also revealed that Joshua already has another fight arranged for 2026, showing the long-term planning and structure behind Joshua's career trajectory.
And Anthony Joshua this year, do you think?
As a fan, of course, I want to see it.
Do you personally want to see it?
Yeah, as a fan, but you need first of all to be sure they are focusing.
Eddie Hearn, the longtime architect of Joshua's career, responds with a mix of ambition and caution. He explains that any major decision around Joshua must fit into a larger strategic blueprint, built jointly with Turki Alalshikh, the influential figure shaping modern global boxing. Hearn believes Alalshikh is the key to unlocking history-making mega events, including the long-anticipated showdown between Joshua and Tyson Fury. While he admits that a fight with Jake Paul brings huge commercial value, he stresses that Joshua's moves cannot be reactionary or driven by hype. At this level, business decisions must be calculated, aligned, and part of the long game, not impulsive social media noise.
When this fight was first mentioned by Jake Paul, I kind of laughed and thought that'd be nice, wouldn't it? And then, meetings with His Excellency last week, who I think realises the commercial size of that fight and that opportunity. So if Jake Paul was mad enough to do it, I think Anthony would probably say yes as well and do everybody a favour and end it all, for Mr. Paul in boxing. So, like I said, not really a fight we've been targeting, but if it's presented...
John Fury, never one to hold back, rejects any notion that Jake Paul could beat Anthony Joshua under legitimate circumstances. He explains that the physical differences are so massive that any result favoring Paul would instantly raise suspicions. Joshua's size, power, experience, and pedigree far exceed Paul's, making a Paul victory logically impossible unless something irregular takes place. Fury voices a concern shared by many lifelong boxing fans. Crossover fights must be handled responsibly because credibility is precious and easy to damage.
At work, because Anthony Joshua could knock Jake Paul out with his dick. So if it goes any other way, you give me a headline there, by the way. If it goes any other way, it's fucking fixed, don't you? I know.
Jamie O'Hara adds to the criticism, asking why Jake Paul should even be considered for a matchup against Anthony Joshua. He acknowledges Paul's progress as a celebrity-turned-boxer, but insists his resume does not put him anywhere close to deserving a shot at a former unified heavyweight champion. To O'Hara, this matchup reflects what modern boxing has become: a business where social influence, online reach, and entertainment value seem to outweigh rankings, achievements, and competitive merit. You're putting an amateur in with a two-time world champion.
Joshua is a two-time world champion. Jake Paul's a YouTuber and doesn't deserve the right to be in a ring with Anthony.
Well, don't buy the fight then.
It's dangerous. I think it's a dangerous fight. We saw what Anthony Joshua done to Francis Ngannou. This is a fight.
I know, but what I'm saying
is... People are going in there, their health is at risk.
But the only reason they
put someone in there in a ring...
I know, Jay.
And you say, the only reason we're doing it is for money. That don't sit right with me.
Fine, then don't buy it.
We've seen boxers die who got punched in the face. Fine. You want to make some money, Eddie Hearn, all that matchroom, they're going to make a fortune, right? Fine. Jake Paul's going to make a fortune. Anthony Joshua makes a fortune. I'm worried for Jake Paul getting seriously hurt. You are putting an amateur boxer in a ring with a two-time...
Chael Sonnen brings another angle, questioning whether the situation is even real. He argues that the public hype exploded before any official announcement, proving how quickly speculation is mistaken for fact in today's media environment. Sonnen points out that Joshua's career has always been built on professionalism, structure, and discipline, making a sudden detour toward a novelty spectacle difficult to understand. His criticism is not aimed at Paul or Joshua, but at how modern culture amplifies rumors so rapidly that opinions begin forming.
Right? Isn't that what we're all told? And I had reached out to Jake directly. But he didn't get back to me. I did get a response, but it was like, you know the response where somebody's like buying some time, or they just want to acknowledge, like they give you a receipt. I'm in receipt of your text message. They can give you an emoji or something like this, or sometimes there's even the automatic. I'm trying to remember what I got, but you can get like the automatic, I'll call you later. You know those? So even though I had said, hey, I'm looking for a confirmation of this fight, and he did respond, as I reflect back on that, it's like, what? He didn't respond confirming the fight. So who did confirm the fight? So I went to Helwani, and Helwani thought that it was confirmed, but he was a little lighter in the language than what I thought I remember hearing. And there's a number of boxing guys just saying, hey, that's not going to happen. And they had a few details, one of which was being Florida. And the Florida Commission would probably be open to something like this, particularly under the clause of exhibition. And then we'd all have to kind of hear, well, what are those rules and what are those stipulations? But that's reasonable to work with. But we haven't been able to get a confirmation from the Florida Commission. And now we're actually getting boxing guys on the inner circle. We hear from some British guys, from some fellow comrades to Joshua that said he wouldn't do that fight. He just wouldn't do that fight. That people would lose respect for him. That he has carried British boxing. This was one guy talking, but the guy said that Joshua has carried British boxing for 2 decades. And that while carrying British boxing on his back, if he was to go over and do a spoof fight against a YouTuber, now I don't look at Jake Paul that way. I look at him as a badass. I understand how greatly he is outmatched. I understand the lack of experience in comparison to Joshua. Believe me, I get it. But I don't dismiss him as a YouTuber.
A fighter who has lived both triumph and defeat offers a more balanced viewpoint. He reminds fans that confidence can be as deadly a weapon as strength or skill, and a fighter who truly believes can shock the world. Woodley warns Joshua not to underestimate Paul simply because of their differences in size and experience. Fights are unpredictable. One moment can change everything. On paper, Joshua is expected to dominate, but overlooking an opponent can be just as dangerous as the punches themselves. His perspective reinforces the core truth of combat sports. Nothing is guaranteed once the bell rings. Technical analysts focus on the extreme size difference between Paul and Joshua.
To be honest, when a fighter has belief in themselves, I never took Jake lightly. A lot of guys like, oh, he a YouTuber, he a Disney kid, but he does a good job of putting the smoke and mirrors up. He doesn't have anything limiting him from training, nutrition, training partners, coaches, and when you believe in yourself, and you're an athlete, and you can put those hours into the gym, that's a dangerous person to go against. And you look at Anthony. He may be taking them lightly, When you have somebody that's smaller than you, that's more agile than you and moving around, we don't know how Anthony's going to deal with that fight. Of course, with the boxing, the skill and experience has got to go with Joshua. But Jake,
look what AJ done to Francis Ngannou, right? I'll put that to you. Do you not see that happening the same way with Jake Paul?
I mean, anybody can get caught with a punch. I got caught with a punch. Francis got hit with some shit, to be honest. So we didn't see a full fight. We didn't see, an exchange. We didn't see like we saw with Tyson Fury, where he, lasted most of the fight. So it's hard to judge off of that one. And they're such different fighters.
And the reality is, there are 2 mega fights he's came very close to making in the last 12 months, and they weren't against Anthony Joshua or big motherfucking cruiserweights. They were against men smaller than him. Canelo Alvarez, which was fucking days away from being made, and Gervonta Tank Davis, who, if he hadn't have lost his last, or drawn his last fight rather, that fight would probably be made for this end of this year already. Both of them are mega money fights. Yes, they're much more skilled fighters than him, but he's got a big size advantage. You look at, a mega size advantage on Tank, even though Tank is, an amazing boxer. Canelo is looking older. He's probably thinking, fuck it. I'm in there with Canelo. Why the fuck not? It's calculated gambling, that. Yeah, you might still get your ass kicked, but at least you can have imagine a path to victory. And even if it is delusional, it's not Anthony Joshua delusional. The biggest fights for the most amount of money is his true goal. But when he talks about the world titles, it's more of a, why not? I mean, if I fucking get through that and I fucking still got my life intact, then why not roll the dice against a top guy? Badu Jack, for example, is a world champion. He is very over the hill. There's a fight I can imagine him maybe out in a couple of years going after.
What are we talking here? Like, it's going to be an exhibition? No, it's a fight. You're a heavyweight. You're calling out heavyweights. You're calling out a heavyweight. You're calling out Anthony Joshua, former world champion. You're calling him out on short notice. It's a fight. You're going to wear 10-ounce gloves and you're going to fight 10 rounds, and that's what it is. I don't understand any idea of anything else. Oh, it's going to be 8 twos. Is it going to be 15-ounce gloves? What the hell are we doing? This is boxing. You want to fight a real guy? You're fighting a real guy, which I am very respectful, and I respect the hell out of Jake Paul if he does step in the ring with Anthony Joshua. No matter what happens, kid's got balls of steel, and I applaud you.
Well, the reason I say we don't know yet because Jake Paul has fought in his last fight with Gervonta Davis was going to be an exhibition. They had to do that because of the weight difference.
Many argue that the matchup should only proceed under exhibition rules for safety. Instead, current plans point toward a fully sanctioned professional bout with all standard conditions in place. Commentators insist that every contractual element, weight, gloves, rounds, officiating, and competition format must be clearly defined to ensure fairness. Treating such a mismatch as a serious professional contest has left boxing purists uneasy, believing that certain rules and standards should never be compromised for entertainment value. And that brings us to the end of today's breakdown. This situation has divided the boxing world. Some see progress, others see a threat to the sport's values. Wherever you stand, one thing is clear: the story is far from over. Stay locked in, and we'll catch you in the next video.